You're at that damn crowded bar, and she walks in. Heads turn to her as always. She's confident, laughing with her friends, completely in control. You've seen her before, maybe even tried to talk to her. But she brushes guys off like they're nothing. Then, your eyes meet. For a split second, something shifts. She glances away, but not before you catch it. That flicker of curiosity. That unspoken question. Who's this guy? Now here's the secret. That moment wasn't luck. It wasn't your outfit, your job, or some cheesy pickup line. It was psychology. There are invisible triggers, hidden weaknesses, that make even the most untouchable woman pause, second guess, and want to know more about you. Most men have no idea these exist. But once you learn them, you won't just get her attention, you'll own it. We have been talking about the main 6 things in our last episode. If you haven't seen that one, you must catch it fast because that was the most basics of these rules. Today we will be hoping onto the deepest weaknesses of that woman that she will always hide, or sometimes she might even not know of. Let's get into it. But before we dive into it, let me tell you this. You were born to lead, to conquer, to stand unshaken in a world that rewards weakness and punishes strength. But somewhere along the way, they tried to tame you, to make you apologize for your power, to beg for what should have been yours by right. No more. This channel is about reclaiming your throne. Seductive Stoics is about the mindset of kings that shapes destiny. Here, you'll learn the unbreakable discipline of the ancients, the unspoken rules of control. Not by force, but by presence. Not by chasing, but by becoming the man she can't resist obeying. The path is simple. The choice is yours. Now let's get into our today's concern. Women don't just fall for men, they fall for the fantasy a man creates. This isn't about deception, it's about psychology. The human mind is wired to chase what it doesn't fully understand, to crave what it can't immediately grasp. When a woman meets a man who doesn't reveal everything at once, something powerful happens, her curiosity ignites. She starts filling in the gaps with her own imagination, and what she imagines will always be more alluring than plain, unfiltered reality. Mystery creates tension, and tension creates attraction. The less she knows up front, the more her mind lingers on you, turning you into a puzzle she can't resist solving. Most men sabotage this natural pull by oversharing. They treat early interactions like an open book, believing that honesty means immediate transparency. But attraction doesn't work like a job application. When a man answers every question directly, dumps his entire life story in the first few conversations, or confesses his vulnerabilities too soon, he eliminates the thrill of the unknown. There's no suspense, no slow reveal, just a flat, uninspiring recitation of facts. A woman doesn't fall in love with a checklist of your accomplishments or traumas. She falls in love with the feeling you evoke. And that feeling comes from what she doesn't yet know. Instead, the art of attraction lies in being playful, unpredictable, and just out of reach. This doesn't mean being cold or withholding. It means giving her just enough to keep her intrigued. A sly smile instead of a straight answer. A hint of depth instead of an autobiography. A touch of humor that leaves her wondering what else you're hiding. When you let her imagination take the lead, she becomes an active participant in the dance of seduction, rather than just a passive observer of your life story. This is why women obsess over celebrities, fictional characters, or even the mysterious stranger at the bar. They're drawn to the enigma, the unanswered questions. A celebrity's allure isn't in their full transparency. It's in the glimpses, the rumors, the half-revealed truths that leave fans craving more. The same principle applies to you. If she can't quite figure you out, if there's always another layer to uncover, she'll keep coming back, chasing the high of discovery. So don't be the man who hands her the entire script on the first date. Be the man who lets her turn the pages herself. Let her wonder. Let her fill in the blanks with her own fantasies. Because in the end, attraction isn't just about who you are. It's about the story she tells herself about you. And the best stories are the ones that keep her guessing. Number 8. The authority effect. Why women crave leadership. Women today rightfully demand equality in all aspects of life, yet their biological wiring still responds to masculine leadership, not control, but calm, decisive confidence. This isn't about suppressing a woman's autonomy. It's about recognizing that attraction operates on a primal level, where strength and direction matter. A man who hesitates over decisions, bends his opinions to please her, or constantly seeks her approval unknowingly triggers a subconscious dismissal, because indecision reads as weakness in the ancient language of attraction. Women don't want domineering authority, but they crave a partner who can navigate uncertainty with steady hands, who chooses a path without apology, and who stands firm when tested. These subtle tests, playful teasing, last-minute changes, emotional challenges, aren't games, but instinctual probes to see if he'll waver under pressure. The moment he does, her respect quietly erodes. This isn't about being cold or unfeeling. It's about balancing modern empathy with timeless strength. A man who leads isn't rigid or unyielding, but he's immovable where it counts, in his purpose, his boundaries, and his ability to steer without desperation. Society tells men to suppress their assertiveness, but biology rewards it, not through domination, but through the quiet assurance that lets a woman relax into his presence. She doesn't want to carry his insecurities, she wants to witness his competence. When he makes decisions without hand-wringing, holds his ground without aggression, and owns his space without begging for validation, something shifts. He becomes more than just a partner. He becomes someone she can trust, someone she can surrender to without fear. Equality in rights doesn't erase the raw physics of attraction. Polarity thrives where leadership meets freedom. The modern man's challenge is to harmonize these truths, to honor her autonomy while embodying the strength that, deep down, still makes her heart race. Because respect isn't given, it's earned through unwavering presence. And that's what turns like into love, and love into obsession. Number 9. The emotional drug. Why nice guys finish last. A woman might say she wants a kind, drama-free partner, and on a conscious level, she genuinely believes this. But the uncomfortable truth is that without emotional intensity, without those peaks and valleys that make her heart race and her mind obsess, she'll eventually grow restless, even if she can't admit why. This isn't about manipulation or toxicity. It's about human nature, about the way our brains are wired to crave stimulation, to respond most powerfully to what is uncertain, unpredictable, and emotionally charged. The nice guy, who is endlessly accommodating, who never rocks the boat, who becomes as reliable and expected as the sunrise, often finds himself relegated to the friend zone. Not because he's unworthy, but because he fails to trigger that primal, intoxicating spark that comes from emotional engagement. The men who create addiction, the ones who linger in her thoughts long after they're gone, are the ones who master the art of emotional intensity, not through cruelty or mind games, but by refusing to be predictable, by keeping her slightly off balance in the most thrilling way possible. They surprise her, not with grand gestures alone, but with the unexpected layers of their personality, the way they can be tender one moment and playfully challenging the next, leaving her wondering which version of them she'll encounter. They challenge her, not by being contrarian or dismissive, but by refusing to simply echo her every opinion, by pushing her to think differently, to feel more deeply, to engage with the world, and with them, on a level that goes beyond surface-level pleasantries. They keep her guessing, not through inconsistency or flakiness, but by maintaining an air of mystery, by revealing themselves gradually, like a story she can't put down, rather than an open book she can skim in one sitting. Predictability kills attraction because it eliminates tension, and tension is the lifeblood of desire. It's the space between what is known and what is yet to be discovered, the gap that her imagination rushes to fill with longing and curiosity. Emotionally exciting men understand this, and they wield it not as a weapon, but as an art form. They know that boredom is the enemy of passion, and so they become the kind of man who is impossible to categorize, impossible to take for granted, impossible to forget. They don't rely on niceness alone to win her over. They understand that while kindness is the foundation, it's emotional intensity that builds the fire. They are the men who make her feel alive, who remind her, through every laugh, every debate, every moment of unresolved tension, that love isn't just about comfort, but about the exhilarating, sometimes terrifying thrill of truly being seen, challenged, and desired. And that's why they're unforgettable. Number 10. The submissive trigger, the power of masculine energy. Beneath the modern ideals of independence and equality lies a biological truth women rarely voice but instinctively respond to: the craving for protection, not in a patronizing way, but in the form of a man whose quiet strength allows her to soften into her femininity without fear. This isn't about dependency. It's about the magnetic pull of a man who creates an unshakable sense of security, who makes the world feel less chaotic simply by how he carries himself. A woman may thrive as a CEO, a warrior, or a pioneer, but in intimacy, she longs for a man who lets her exhale, someone whose presence alone signals that she doesn't always have to be on guard. This surrender only happens when a man proves himself capable, not through empty bravado, but through actions that whisper reliability. He sets clear boundaries, not as walls to keep her out, but as pillars that show he respects himself too much to tolerate disrespect or chaos, and in doing so, he subconsciously teaches her how to respect him. He exudes confidence without arrogance, a subtle but critical distinction. It's the difference between a man who needs to announce his strength and one who simply radiates it, whose calm assurance makes her feel like the safest version of herself when she's near him. And when pressure arises, he doesn't crumble or lash out. He meets challenges with steady hands, revealing to her, without a word, that he's the kind of man who can handle life's storms, not just for himself, but for her too. A weak man, one who hesitates, who people pleases, who folds under stress, can't trigger this response, no matter how kind he is, because kindness without strength feels like a promise that can't be kept. But a strong, grounded man? He awakens something primal in her, a quiet knowing that with him, she can let go. She won't call it protection. When she describes why she's drawn to him, she'll say he makes her feel at ease, or seen, or different than anyone else. But the truth is, his strength disarms her defenses in a way no amount of flowers or compliments ever could. It's not about being controlling or domineering. It's about being so solid in who you are that she feels free to be who she is, without apology. And when she finds that, she won't just love you for it, she'll ache for you in a way she can't even explain. Finally, you need to know attraction isn't about tricks, it's about psychology. The more you understand these triggers, the more naturally women will respond to you. Be the man who stands out, the man who gets inside her mind. Because when you master these principles, you won't just attract her, you'll make her need you. Once you understand these, you will be unrecognizable in her eyes. Go on watching to our next video. Until then, let her chase.